Remember when voice text Paul originally narrated the Over the Hedge alternate ending and Over the Hedge 2 Lost Movie Creepypastas? Well, here I am to revisit those creepypastas and re-narrate them. Well, hello YouTube. It is I, JMJ YouTuber 2001 here. And today in this creepypasta TrollPasta video, I'm gonna re-narrate the Over the Hedge alternate ending and Over the Hedge 2 Lost Movie Creepypastas that voice text Paul originally narrated. So anyways, let's start with Over the Hedge alternate ending. Does anyone remember the movie Over the Hedge? It was a 2006 film about a family of animals who have to get food to store for winter. But a hedge takes away half of the forest. So, with the help of a raccoon named RJ, they learn how to steal food from the humans. But what they don't know is that RJ is really using them to get the food to pay back an angry bear named Vincent. Eventually, RJ chooses his family over paying back the bear and decides to save them when the Furminator is about to take them to be killed. Or at least that's the ending we all know. But did you know that there was an alternate ending to this movie? It was so messed up that I can never think of Over the Hedge the same way again. It all started one day when I was in my house playing guitar. Right when I was about to learn a new song, I heard a knock on the door. I went to see who was there, but there was no one there. But I wound up seeing a package on my doorstep. I picked it up and I saw a DVD labeled Over the Hedge, Lost Ending. Over the Hedge has an alternate ending? I thought to myself, amazed at my discovery. I put the DVD into my DVD player and I sat back to watch a piece of lost media. I thought I was so lucky that someone managed to mail me a piece of lost media, yet alone from my favorite movie. Oh, how that feeling would go away quickly. A warning popped up, reading, "This alternate ending of Over the Hedge was cut from the final product due to it being too emotional for children and due to the scenes of animal cruelty. If you get scared or emotional easily, turn back now. You have been warned." Animal cruelty? I said in shock. I doubt I asked that. The scene opened with Vern's cage being slammed on all the other cages by the Furminator after the family was trapped by him in Gladys' house. "You've just been Furminated," said the Furminator with a laugh, before sniffing at very angry Gladys. "Phew, you stink," That's because you let them into my house, yelled Gladys. Hey Nancy, stop your honking, said the Furminator. These little guys will be disposed of quickly and humanely. No, not humanely, yelled Gladys. As inhumanely as possible. It was a pleasure doing business with you, ma'am, said the Furminator as Gladys walked back into her house. It then cut to Vern and the rest of the family watching RJ bringing the wagon load of food up to Vincent. Instead of the usual score that played in the scene, a single piano started playing as, one by one, the cages containing the family were rolled into the van. What's he gonna do to us, Mama? Asked Quillo. I don't know, baby, said Penny in a realistic, sad tone. Then it showed the two possums, Ozzy and Heather, in a cage. But Heather was crying realistic tears while she said her line. I don't want to die, Dad, said Heather. Not for real. There, sweetheart, said Ozzy. We'll be okay. It then showed Hammy in his cage, looking visibly scared, before Stella held his hand to calm him down. I was crying at this point because of the mood of this scene so far. You were right about him, Vern, said Lou, also in a realistic, sad tone. We should have listened. Sorry there. No, said Vern. I knew we couldn't trust him and I got us into this. I should have known better. It then showed Vern's POV. Now that the family was in the van and driving to where they were to be euthanized, he saw RJ and Vincent watching the van drive past them before they walked away. A few seconds later, it cut to show the van at the euthanasia place, and the Verminator bringing the family into various sections of the factory to kill them. The methods he used were enough to scar me for life. Hammy was gassed in a chamber. Heather and Aussie were drowned in the pool of boiling water. Stella had her head cut off. Lou, Penny, Bucky, Spike, and Quillo were electrocuted and whacked with a club. As for Vern, he was crushed to death by a rolling pin and was boiled alive. Vern screamed realistically as he was being boiled, as if his actor, Gary Shandling, was being hurt badly. Then, it slowly faded to black, before a message appeared on the screen. If only RJ hadn't betrayed his family, maybe they would still be alive. Then, it faded to black, ending the scene. I was in shock of that scene. Who would make that scene? Why was it made? What was the meaning behind it? I ended up smashing the DVD into bits after taking a couple screenshots. Then, I emailed DreamWorks and Michael Fry, the creator of Over the Hedge, about it. Apparently, there was an animator by the name of Roddy Fatone who used to work at DreamWorks, and he was responsible for the scene. During the test screenings, he included the ending into the showings and caused millions of kids to be traumatized by it. So, DreamWorks fired him, and he wound up getting sued by all the parents at the test showings, and the ending was altered to be the one we know today. Roddy Fatone is the newest animator in the Troublesome Animator Club. So, if you find one of his creations or an alternate version of the scene, destroy it immediately. Most importantly, cherish your family. You never know what you have until they are gone. I chose this creepypasta because of the movie I watched on DVD. Next creepypasta, Over the Hedge 2, Lost Movie. If you thought that the alternate ending of Over the Hedge 1 that Roddy Fatone made was bad enough, well, think again. Because here's the story about a lost sequel to this movie. So one day, I was walking around some Walmart and I eyed upon one beautiful sight. It was Over the Hedge 2, a sequel to my absolute favorite movie. I grabbed the only copy before anyone else could. The case was red, and there was a tear in both of Vern's eyes, which I didn't notice until I got home. I zipped to the cashier and put it on the conveyor belt as fast as I could. The store was about to close, and it came up as $0. I didn't read enough creepypastas to avoid that little trick, so I got it. When I got home, I scurried to the DVD player and looked at the case. I noticed the red cut in both of Vern's eyes as he was smiling and giving 2 thumbs up. The fact that Heather was missing from the cover and that RJ's eyes were anchored. I was guessing that someone accidentally tore the cover and that DreamWorks couldn't put Heather in for whatever reason. But I was still suspicious of RJ's eyes. When I popped in the disc, there was no commercials, but instead a black screen with the Gigas theme playing for 2 minutes. And then it went to the title screen, which nearly gave me a heart attack. It was the same title screen, but all the bags were torn open. The glass was cracked. All the price tags were $6.66. The bee was laying down dead with a butcher knife in its belly. The Shrek 3 trailer bag had Slenderman on it. The music was remixed in G major. The Hammy's Boomerang Adventures bag had no Hammy on it. And no text either. And when the truck drove by, you could hear the truck's noise. Then a screeching, a girl screaming, and then a crash. I chose to start the movie. Then there was the old DreamWorks opening, even though I saw no DreamWorks logo on the case. But I paused the movie, looked at the case, and saw a normal back, but due to the blood stain making the words, "Help me. I was too weak to stop it. Please don't pop in the disc." I only saw the cast is back in Ono. I expected this to be a sick joke, and someone hacked the title screen. I was wrong. As I heard the clicking of the coins and the buttons, I saw the vending machine with Heather's head on in the first slot. The price tag said, "You're dead, little girl," which I hope referred to Heather, because I wasn't a girl, and I asked nowhere near little, and it got stuck before falling, and RJ yelled, "No! That fresh meat was just..." As he banged the machine, he continued, "Sitting right there." And everything after that was normal. Until he saw Vincent's cave. RJ said, "Vincent, no, bad idea," as normal. But then I heard in a demonic voice, "I control over you. You cannot make your own choice." RJ, crying, went up near Vincent's cave. That part when he hit the "Do not feed the bear" sign. He looked up, and I just saw some red legs. And I heard RJ screaming, and some biting, and some evil laughter. Me, scared out of my skull, I reversed to see what killed RJ, and it was a red demon with a key. I expected it to be RJ's captor. Next was the bark scene, which was normal. But when Lou gave Bucky, Spike, and Quillo the bark, they rejected it as usual, but said nothing. When Vern brought the sticks to the log, he grabbed some bark, but it wasn't bark, it was instead a hand, still moving. Every time Vern took a bite, the hand stretched its fingers out. After a while, the scenes got more and more distorted. Eventually, Vern went over the hedge, and RJ was standing in front of Vern, which was strange because RJ got killed. RJ grabbed Vern by the neck and tied him to a rocket and blasted him off into the sky. It didn't show what happened afterwards, though. RJ entered the hedge, and everyone was excited and group hugged him. But he said goodbye, weaklings, and took out a chainsaw and killed all the animals. Besides Bucky, Spike, and Quillo, who were too short for his chainsaw. Eventually, the screen was blood red, and RJ appeared saying, "Whoever was foolish enough to watch this movie will go with the other fool that watched this." I got so scared that I threw the disc out of the window and buried it so it would never be seen again. I also broke the case and put my over-the-hedge items in a box for 3 weeks because I was too scared of Over the Hedge because of that movie. Today, I watched Over the Hedge, remembering that moment, which is why I'm posting this. Roddy Fatone is now a DreamWorks animator of the Troublesome Animator Club. If you find a copy of Over the Hedge 2, the lost movie, be careful of what lost media you discover. Now that I revisited those creepypastas and re-narrated them, can Daniel take over? I'm done. See you in the next video.
Once upon a time in the Creepypasta universe, I originally narrated both Creepypastas, Over the Hedge alternate ending and Over the Hedge 2, Lost Movie, and then our old Creepypasta universe exploded after we evacuated to this TrollPasta universe. Just a recap story, but you heard the man Daniel take over for me and him.
Okay. Since Paul already narrated both of the Over the Hedge creepypastas, I figured that it's my turn to narrate this one. Ahem. In the woods of Michigan, there were a hedge. In that hedge, there were some animals who lived together as a family. These included a raccoon named RJ, a turtle named Ven, a squirrel named Hammy, a porcupine couple, Penny and Lou, a skunk named Stella, and two possums named Ozzy and Heather. Together, the family would sneak over the hedge to the human neighborhood to steal food from the humans. Each animal was more cunning than the next, but Ozzy and Heather were the most cunning of them all. Well, Ozzy was, at least. How so? He would constantly play dead over the smallest things, much to Heather's embarrassment. Each time that Ozzy would play dead, it would be the same routine between the two possums. Dad Heather would say, "It's just snow," but it could have been a predator. Ozzy would say, "Isn't playing dead weak?" Heather would object. "Heather, how many times must I say it?" Ozzy would lecture. "Playing dead is what we do. We die so that we live." Then, Heather would just go about her day like usual. But what she didn't know was that there was a reason that her father was always playing dead. A very dark reason that Ozzy felt like Heather was too young to know about. It all started on the first day after hibernation. RJ, Ven, Hammy, Lou, Penny, Stella, Ozzy, and Heather were getting ready to gather some more food for next winter. "Okay, guys," said Ven. "We have 364 days until next winter. We'd better get moving." All of the animals nodded and got to work, stealing food from the humans on the neighborhood that was over the hedge. But Ozzy looked visibly stressed that day. RJ asked Ozzy, "Can I talk to you for a few seconds?" "Sure," said RJ. RJ and Ozzy went behind some trees to talk. But right before RJ could ask what was up, Ozzy broke down into tears. "Oh," RJ said. "Ozzy, I need to ask you a favor." "What?" asked RJ. "I need you to tell Heather about her mother," said Ozzy, in sadness. "What do you mean?" asked RJ. "Well, Heather has always asked about her mother," said Ozzy. "She's old enough now to understand that her mum is dead. She has been dead since Heather was a baby. I can't bring myself to tell her about the day she died. So, I need you to do it." "Okay," said RJ. "I'll talk with her." "Thank you so much," RJ said. Ozzy. So, RJ went to find Heather, who was in the log where the family slept, getting some private time in. Heather asked RJ, nervously. RJ said. "Heather," with excitement, "I'm so glad you came. I need your opinion on something. Do you think that my dad will tell me about my mother today or in the next 3,000 years or so? He always says he's gonna tell me about her. Then, he totally goes overboard playing dead or something." "Actually, Heather," said RJ, "your dad wanted me to tell you about your mother. She's..." "Yes," asked Heather. "RJ, you can't do this. You'll break her heart," thought RJ. "No, you have to. You promised." Ozzy. "I know for sure he'll play dead in front of you for the next 10 years if you don't." "Heather, your mother is dead," said RJ. Sadly, Heather looked at RJ in shock. But then, she let out a burst of laughter, loud enough for everyone on the eastern seaboard to hear. "Good one, RJ," said Heather. "But seriously, where is she?" "I'm not joking, Heather," said RJ. "Your dad told me to tell you that she's dead, because he couldn't." At that moment, Heather's face became shocked. Then, she started crying, as she ran to see Ozzy. "Dad," asked Heather, in between sobs, "is what RJ said true? Is my mum really dead?" "I guess there's no hiding it anymore," said Ozzy, who was also breaking down. "Your mother and I met when us animals first got together. Back then, it was us. Ven, Lou, Hammy, and Penny. Then, years went by and our family grew. Penny and Lou had kids and your mother and I had you and 8 other kids. We were happy during that time. Then one day, your mother and I had to go and find food. Lou was in charge of watching you, as your siblings wanted to come with us. They were still very young. I told them no, but your mother insisted I bring them. So, I gave in and we went searching for food in the woods. Then, we encountered a bear, as we were collecting food. We ran as fast as we could, but your mother got injured. I tried to save her, but I ended up leading the bear straight to us. I tried to defend my family against the bear, but the bear knocked me out. When I woke up, your mother and your siblings were gone. I realized that playing dead saved me. So, I made a vow to myself that I would protect you, no matter what. After Ozzy finished his story, Heather was completely broken. She had eyes that looked like someone killed her puppy. Her mouth was a frown. Her fur was pale white. So, that's it, said Heather, fully breaking down. My mum and siblings dead, never to be seen again. Why? Why didn't you tell me? What kind of father doesn't tell their daughter about their mum and siblings being killed by a bear? What kind of father shields someone from the truth? What kind of father gets their friend to tell their daughter about something big like this, because they don't have the guts to tell them themselves? Oh, come on. How dare you berate Ozzy? How dare I? How dare you, yelled Heather, as she sped off, sobbing. Heather, wait, yelled RJ, who witnessed the whole conversation. Guys, we gotta go find her, said Ozzy. Agreed, said Ven, who also witnessed the whole thing. Heather kept running deeper and deeper into the woods, with RJ, Ven, Hammy, Lou, Penny, Stella, and Ozzy on her tail. She bawled her eyes out, not only because her mother and siblings were dead, but because Ozzy tried to keep it a secret from her. How else was she supposed to react? Heather ran until she reached the neighborhood. She saw a truck heading her way, and laid down, ready to get hit by it. Ozzy and the rest of the family saw her, and tried to get her to get off of the road. Stop, yelled Heather, tearing up. You guys don't know what it's like. Do you know what it's like to be lied to all of your life? Do you know what it's like to not know your mother or the siblings you didn't even know existed? Do you? Well, began Hammy. No, yelled Heather. You do not. I don't want to be lied to anymore. Goodbye, Heather. Don't. We're a family. Wait, yelled Ven, as the truck got closer and closer to Heather. But it was too late. The truck hit Heather and she was as good as dead. Ozzy rushed over to his deceased daughter's body, and wept. Ozzy's crying didn't sound fake, as if his actor, William Shatner, has lost a loved one. I'm so sorry, Heather, said Ozzy, hugging his dead daughter's body. I never asked for any of this. The rest of the family gathered around the body and wept along with Ozzy. Their crying didn't sound fake at all, as if their voice actors had lost their loved ones as well. To this day, Ozzy stays alone in his log, crying, while the rest of the family works.
Fun fact, Daniel, I narrated both creepypastas of Over the Hedge alternate ending and Over the Hedge 2, Lost Movie, and then our old creepypasta universe exploded, and then we ended up here in this TrollPasta universe.
Is that so, Paul? Is that why your own creepypasta universes no longer exist? Wow, what a commitment.
Yeah. Totally.
Attention, TrollPasta universe citizens. Your former creepypasta universe exploded, but I rebuilt it and now our multi-pasta universe will combine. Creepypasta universe will combine with the TrollPasta universe. Feels pastas, short pastas, and random pastas. Let the future of the TrollPasta universe begin.
Hear that? It looks like Zarvox is going to combine all of these universes and turn them into a multi-pasta universe. I need to get into my shelter now. Someone take over, please.
They go.